Welcome back to Factorio Ribbon World. My name is Nilaus, and we are doing this recap of the progress over on Twitch. So for anyone who's not aware, then every week I do this recap of the progress on this space. I'm streaming it Tuesday, Thursdays, and Sundays at 8 p.m. Central European Time on Twitch TV/Nilaus, and then on Mondays. Today, I will be doing an update on talking a bit about what I've done, where, how, why, the challenges, and as we progress. So this is the base in its entirety, a Ribbon World base that only goes one way, so starting from here, and it has gone all the way up here, and you can catch up with the other previous 8 updates in this playlist. So either you can come on over on the day specified, or you can watch it here if you like, and hopefully it'll be inspiring because it's super fun, interesting challenge to build it like this. What our goal is for this series is for me to increase my science per minute up to and sustain at this level. So where does this level come from? Well, on Twitch there is this mechanic on hype trains, and I give points for every one hype train, and they add up all of these points, and that gives us sort of a science total that will be means that if there are more hype about the series, it'll be harder for me to complete it, and then it's basically a moving goalpost that if I can scale up my base faster than the support for the series, then we know that that's the time when I have reached the goal and the climax of the series. So that is what we're aiming for, and in this episode we'll be pushing towards the Megabase level, the generally accepted 1000 science per minute target. And that's how do we do that? Well, everything here needs to be upgraded. One of the things that we can see, if I just hover the upgrade tool, you can see that there are a lot of things that are still not upgraded. You can see also, for example, here, this is not at all working. This is still having like I hate those trees. I hate the trees. This is still using module 1s. Also over here by, let's see, by this one, we also have, this is also still using module 1, and this is using a majority of our copper, so not really great to not get the maximum out of this. So what we definitely want to do is make sure that we start upgrading these so that we can get more production up and running. So let's take a look at that. Here we have a very good example of something that also desperately needed an upgrade, the smelting of iron. And we have these small patches, if we look at it on the minimap, there, and that one. Those are all being combined into these locations here, but they were only set up with Mark 1 modules in the furnaces. So get that upgraded. This will unfortunately use a lot of modules, green, red, and blue modules in order to make more. No, circuits in order to make more modules, but that's essential for what we do. So this is being upgraded, and just trying to get as much out of this as possible. What you will see in this episode is that it's going to be very much focused on the raw resources. When we built one of these designs here, there's these structured designs that come from our masterclasses, then they will be doing fine, and they might not be working all the time. But if we start seeing that they are needed to work all the time and we're not able to get enough iron in, well, then that's a problem. So this is definitely our biggest problem right now, is first getting more iron in and later getting more copper in so we can actually support the build we have. Here we have the science 692, which is actually the maximum capacity of our science facility as it is built right now. If we see this will be here per second per minute, 691, pretty much what we see up here. So what we're seeing is that we are now in a position where we are burning through our science as fast as we can, and we are starting to build up a buffer of the space science, which has always been the problem. But on the other hand, we are now seeing the problem with the greens and the reds. Why are we seeing the problem with greens and the reds? Well, if recall, we did not actually had this updated to Mark 1s. Now they are upgraded to Mark 3s. They were Mark 1s, now they're Mark 3s. We will also need to upgrade as well the speed modules here as well on top of that, so that they can keep up, because at this point it's going to barely keep up with what we have. It's going to be 625, and if I'm burning at a rate of 690, it's not keeping up. There are more things that need to be updated as well, so that will be definitely some of the things that we want to make sure that we update. The reason why we are seeing an upgrade on, or seeing that white science or space science is keeping up, is because this one is being upgraded to Mark 3 modules, and over here as well that will be updated as well to Mark 3 modules. Here we have the next issue that's coming in. This is not surprising, as we were talking about iron, is the fact that we are not getting enough steel coming into the purple science build. So what are we going to do with our purple science, or with iron supply in general? Here's our iron build. It's not getting anything, and why not? Well, first of all, someone had the audacity to nuke my build, but that was okay, because I wanted to take it out. Because the thing is, if I look at one of these, just a single one here, that is producing 2.05 per second, because we are now having a productivity here. The productivity is 310%. Now, what if I had a better one? Such as that one. Such as there. Now it's updated. How fast could that be? That could even be 5.12. So what if I had 8 of those? That's 41. What if I had 10 of those, like 5 on either side? That would be more than enough for a full blue belt. So what we're actually seeing is that we're close to being at a point where we only need 4 miners with full modules to feed up a full blue belt. And that means that some of these lines that we can see how many they actually have. They have 36. That is a gigantic waste if we could just change it. So that's what I want to do here. I want to take my big iron patches, that one, actually also my small, that one, that one, that one, that one, all of these, and this one. And didn't I have another one? No, I don't have another one. We have this one out here, but it's gonna be a long journey before we can get out there. So that's let's not consider that an option. But this is definitely something we need, because then we get more iron in. Even though this is just going to iron, then the iron is also going into the steel, and that will fix the steel part as well eventually. I hope. That's the theory, at least. We've also, as you can see here, expanded out here, taken all the area we have. So we have a few more locations to build on when we get to that point. And as we see now, we are seeing the science will just gradually decline. So not really reaching that target just yet. Here we have the first attempt at a conversion. What I'm going to do now is, as you can see, I'm only using Mark 1 as Mark 1 modules, not Mark 3 modules, because we don't have an abundance of Mark 1 of Mark 3 modules. We have 1 in logistic storage. That's not good. So of course I can't build them here, but I can at least build the structure and then use Mark 1 modules, because those I have in abundance. Get those in, put them on a train, hitch a ride on the train. Oh, that's perfect timing, isn't it? We can then hitch a ride on a train to a new location. We can also enjoy the ride through our base, except that there are too many trees in this forest, in this base. I'm even calling my base a forest. That's how many trees there are. And we'll get all the way towards the new location. Here we have some of the new iron build, the one we just had destroyed previously, and we transition all the way towards the end, past the science builds. This is going to be for blue circuits, because we are now going to, we want to make sure that there's less activity on the train network, or on the robot network, because, well, it's getting kind of busy. So what I want instead is I want to put blue circuits on trains as well, but that's going to take a bit of time, because there's no point in doing that at this point. It's much more important to keep feeding this one. There's only 1 train station at this point feeding this, so I can't do it just yet. But we have a new iron smelting block that comes in with iron ore on a train. So that's a bit of a difference from usual, but it still goes out into the same network and adds to the overall network of iron trains. So I was extremely fortunate, not lucky, fortunate, that the community decided to support a lot, and particularly Bartek just absolutely blew it away. And with that came a level 5 hype train, and that was selected. Bartek won, so won both of them. So he decided to give 2 iron ore patches. That means we got 5 million iron here and 5 million iron here. That is absolutely glorious, and I don't think we're going to be in any shortage of iron anymore at this point. So what I've started to do is make yet another iron patch down here, and then or iron smelting, and then hook it up to our new iron patch. I think this one, with setting up the new build here on either side, we can get the iron patch going, and we can get yet another 2 iron patches going out into the world. That is super nice. What we will also be looking at is all the way back here. This one's not been converted yet. This one's not been hooked up yet. But we did this one previously, and you can see the trains cannot keep up yet, or cannot keep up with this. What I've also done is I've converted all the other locations here to get as much as possible out here. So we're getting the maximum we can get out of these small remaining iron patches here, and we want to just get in there and get it built. Oh, and we have a bomb, of course, because hey, with generosity comes a lot of bombs, and also biters are spawning as well. Luckily, when it's just these kind of small number of biters, then it's easy for me to just take them out with our normal builder supply here. But we're then continuing to expand out here, just taking one more patch, or one more block, so we get one more location. So we want to. This one will be a nuclear power plant, because, well, you can see we are kind of getting in trouble with the new patch. But first, of course, it is all about getting the iron patches operational. So let's get those operational so we can see how that works. This is the second ore patch that we had, the second one of the new spawns, and it kind of comes in at a really awkward spot. It comes in here. Yeah, someone also decided to take out a nuclear power plant here. Not very nice, not very nice. Luckily, you could see here the circle here was actually reaching in, but I saw the ticking time bomb, and then I managed to go in, rush in, pick these up so they didn't explode. I thought that was pretty clever. So that means we are good to go on that, and I'll just do this. There we go. Get it in there. Get you heated back up. Which, of course, is not going to do anything great for our power consumption here. What we'll do, though, is take this iron, and I've just built it up here. This was previously the coal, so I had to take the coal down here to get the iron in here. And then I realized that I actually wanted the blue circuits to use this one. So we'll need to figure out what else I'm going to do with the blue circuits. I'm probably just going to take it even further over, let's see, over to this location, which is kind of ironic because this is the location where I need to get the blue circuits has already been prepared to come in here and go up there. But if I'm putting it on a train here to be ferrying it into here, that's just not happening. That's just not happening. So we'll have to do some kind of changes to that when doing that. But we'll keep working on this. Now I think we can say that iron is now pretty well off. We have lots of iron here. We have this one is being produced. This is the one that comes from the new iron ore patches, and also our big iron ore patch has also been changed here. I've also split it down the middle so it goes to either side. Have modules as well. Go in here into a 12 by 12 splitter, filtering the 8 over to the smelting and 4 of these back into the network. So we have yet another station, and we have 3 stations that make the iron ore available. And I will also make one more. Because up here we have this glorious build where we are using the burner miners, nuclear fueled burner miners, and we're just putting it into a box. This box, of course, as you can see over on the right hand side, we are starting to get 109,000 iron ore in our logistics network. That should be put onto trains and get ready, but that's a bit later. So far we have plenty of space, so no worries about that. I think it's time for us to fix our nuclear power plant with another patch going, accessed, and way more modules here. We definitely are about to run out of power. Yep, we are. We are definitely running out of power. So let's hurry up and build a new nuclear power plant. We're going to start out here with the blue circuits. The blue circuits are now being filtered on this one, going into a train, but also moving further over and then merging into the module build. And in the meantime, we are just riding. Oh, we're just actually passing just what I was looking at as we are progressing all the way down to the end of the line as fast as we can. We're running with our nuclear fuel past the science facility. It is not really as good as it could be, and the reason for this now is actually because of low space science. While we are driving there, we could take a look at why we're low space science. It is actually it looks like it's a lack of satellites. Oh, here we have our new modular nuclear power plant getting up here. It also is another place to do an intersection before we go out into the next area. This is still within line of sight, but certainly not within reach anytime soon, unfortunately. But that's just we'll know it's there, but right now it's more copper that we're worried about. So we do need to also revitalize our copper build, but we are also looking at other things. And let's see, where we have the purple signs is here. This is one thing I wanted to show, that we are simply not getting enough stone and stone bricks in here because we have a combined. So what I need to do is actually, since I'm bringing stone in on a train, but I have a patch right here for stone and another patch right there for stone. That seems kind of silly. So what about we take our original stone smelter and stone stuff, this one, it's 1.3, take this one, reallocate it, reintegrate it into here, so we get some moduled smelting production, get it up here, and then have a dedicated stone brick train. That means we have to do some changes back in the hub, because the hub is also relying on a double belt on a double. So we have a dedicated stone brick and a dedicated stone coming into the hub, as well as the dedicated stone and dedicated stone belt. Stone brick and stone coming into here. So the stone comes here and the stone bricks comes into that one. Let's see how we can wrangle that into to what we want here. We also now have the blue circuit train operational, comes in here, goes into the rocket control units and goes into the yellow signs. So that is glorious, and we'll rush past here, not get run over. And if we look at our new purple signs, we have a dedicated stone brick train coming in and a dedicated line of stone coming in. This is an absolute disaster, a mess of a disaster here, but it works. We're just taking all of this, gets it out into a stone train, because we also need a stone train going back into the hub. So we have a stone train coming in and we have a stone brick train coming in here, and that means we've also been reintegrating this part, so we get the stone coming in here. I know this is too big. It doesn't need to be as big as this, because these are taking 2 in for 1 out. Doesn't matter. It looks nice and symmetrical. It uses a bit of power and resources, but I could cut it down, but I didn't bother at this point. So at this point, we can actually look at our science, and I feel at least pretty confident that what we have now is we've reestablished that we have enough iron, enough copper, enough of all of the other production, and we feel pretty confident that this is very much sustainable. Where's our science? Where's our science? Here's our science. You can see we have built up a stockpile of every single thing. That means we have enough of every science, and we're still burning at the 692 per minute that our science facility can support. So I think that we now I feel confident that it's time to scale up the science and get it up to about a 1300 as maximum, because each of these can at maximum produce 22.5 per second or 1350 per minute, and that's going to be our absolute maximum. So if I can consume 1300, then I'm pretty much consuming all that these can deliver, and that will now be our objective, to not only get there but also be able to sustain it. So let's start by just increasing the science and then see if we can sustain it from there. So this is our new science facility. You can see that's upgraded, and if we look at just a single row like this, 9 of these, and then we have 5 of these rows, so we multiply by 5, that is 1296 per minute. And that's a pretty good amount. What we are obviously seeing is that we now won't be able to support all of it. We are running out of space science, which will absolutely be a problem, because this one cannot, no matter how many modules you put there, it can never go over 981 science per minute. Because of the 40-second animation time, then there's just not enough room, not enough time to fill in the rest. So I have prepared the next one, but I've not hooked it up. That will be a thing that we will want to do. So at this point, we'll now see the science sort of spike up to very high and then drop down again, because we won't be able to support it. But it'll give us some very interesting information about what is going on. And we're also seeing that science is getting a bit more busy on here. Let's take those robots out so we can get a sense of it. What we can see though is actually what is most important to look at is why are we actually running out of this, because there is a really good reason for it. It's simply because we are not getting enough solar panels. We're not getting enough solar panels it is right now. That's the main point. Why are we building solar panels? Or I've built a new solar panel build here, leaning it up here, that should be making enough solar panels, but it's not making a single one because the lines of copper are empty. This is going to be a major issue, because this is our hub, and if the hub is not working, then there's a lot of production that is not working here. For example, when the red circuit's not coming in, then we don't get any modules, we don't get any beacons, we don't get anything we want. So it's important for us to make sure that we keep the hub operational, and for that we will also be doing a special design here so that we make a priority build for the hub, so that if the hub wants anything, the other ones shut down. That's going to be a bit complicated, but that's something we absolutely want to do. But first of all, we see that we are in need of more copper. So what can we do in order to get more copper? Well, this one can't really get more out of this. We have this copper patch. This one can definitely be optimized so that it goes in here and also spreads into some patches. We also have a good bit of copper up. Where is it? This glorious thing we have here at the edge. This one is also getting some copper. Someone needs to fill in more rocket fuel so we can get more copper out of this. We have this patch as well, can also be upgraded to get more out of that. So we do have a bit more copper that we can utilize. So let's try and utilize the copper we have in order to see if we can increase it. And here we have the new copper patch that I have added. So we need more copper smelting. And why do we need more copper smelting? Because we are starting to take copper out from the ore patches into the trains. So we need to have a dedicated ore copper ore to copper plate smelting block. That's the one we have here. We have a single train, we have a single location, and that's here. Do we have a single location? Oh, do we have? Yeah, we know we have 2 locations. So what we have is this big patch here has been split into 12 lanes into a 12 by 12 splitter. 8 of them go in here, 4 of them go up here, and that will definitely need to get more trains. The other one, the other patch as well, is here. This one has also been split, and it's splitting also into 4 up here and 8 into the other one. What we are doing back at the original, this one, we're just still trying to rely on getting the ore, the copper ore from this miserable location, get that back in. But we're also starting to see that we are accumulating. If you look at the right hand side, we have 182,000 iron ore and 57,000 copper ore. So we are also accumulating a lot of iron ore over at this location, even though this is not doing much, but it's still doing something. You can see we've also been ruthlessly attacked. So this is good. We are definitely getting some more progress, but there are still problems. With our science is 0. Why is our science 0? Let's have a look at our yellow science. Why is yellow science dead? It's dead because of acute lack of batteries. Batteries? Really? Why are we not having batteries? Let's look at the batteries build. The battery build is dead because of lack of copper. So we're still having issues with copper coming in here. Maybe just oversaturating and getting more will go in here. But no, it's time for us to build a new train network that sets up so that these will be empty. Or when this one requests, then all the other stations will not request. Let's take a look at how that system could be set up. So here we are back at the hub, and what we've done is we have made a little addition here. Let me explain how it works. This is my very basic train network here, where it basically says if it is less than a threshold, 30,000, then send L equal 1. L equal 1 goes in here, set train limit, and sets the train limit to 1. 1 train will come in. We have a problem if we have, let's see, here we have 5 stations that want to get trains in, but we only have 2 trains that are en route to those 5 stations. So we are clearly having locations such as this, which would really like to get some copper in, but it can't. That means when there's another copper load available, it will be sent to that one because it's one of the open ones. That means if this one opens, since this is really far away from the copper production, this copper production would rather want to go into here, for example. Therefore, it'll never get to this one unless all the other ones are satisfied, and they probably will not be satisfied. And if that happens, then it means no more assemblers, well, actually not. There are no more nuclear parts, there are no more batteries, no more solar panels. Definitely science will be dead. So that we cannot accept. It means we need to make sure that even though this is low demand, then it cannot be allowed to be empty. So what I do is, when this one sends an L equal to 1, then I multiply it by -1 and send it out as a copper signal. That means on this one, and I do the same thing for all the other ones, then I set it into the global network that I send all over the network here. So that means if this is requesting copper, there will be a signal here that's called -1 copper. If there's a -1 copper, then we have all of the copper requesters out here. Let's take one of these copper requesters. They have now got an extra one. an extra combinator that listens to this location, and basically it translates copper into L, which means if there's minus 1 copper sent into the network, it'll be transferred into a minus L, -1 train limit, which means this one would if it's open, it will send a train limit of 1, but then it would also send a -1 because the other one is demanding it. That means it's basically subtracting it, and means it shuts it down. So that gets a bit complicated to explain, but what we can show that it works, hopefully, with a live test by looking at stations here. We now still have 5 stations open. 2 of them have something assigned. That means there are still now there's 3 of them assigned. Can we find something that's even worse? No, this is the worst one. So that is definitely. So what I want to see is that if I open this station, we now have, at this point, we have 39. If I set this up to saying if it's 40,000, right now, this lights up. This is getting in. No trains are being assigned yet. But here I'm sending a -1, -1, -1. And I'm sending out here. That means these locations that would previously be requesting. This one, for example, is requesting. But you can also see that is now transferring the -1. That means it will not be requesting anything at all. At this point, I really wish I could find one that actually would request. So for example, this one, this has an output signal of L equal to 1, which would indicate that the train would be going here. But it also has an L equal to -1. That means this station has a good flat 0. And if we look at the station overlay here, we now only have 1 station open because all the other stations have now been shut down in terms of sort of not requesting. That means they will be stalling, and all the trains, with only 1 train will be allowed to go, and that will go into the hub station. And as soon as the hub station comes in, we now get over 40,000. This shuts off, the signal shuts off, and we now go back to having the other stations. Here they open up again, and they are now being hungry again, and then they will be getting trains coming in here. So what the limitation, of course, is that when the hub demands something, the rest of the train network for that particular product shuts down while waiting for the hub to be satisfied. It of course is a limitation, and there have been really good suggestions on alternative ways, more advanced ways of doing it. But from my perspective, the demand in the hub is not going to be very big. So if we end up having to pause the rest of the copper for 30 seconds while waiting for the train to come in and start filling it up and getting over the threshold, then for now I'm going to be happy about it. It's not going to be a problem. You can do something which was suggested, like monitor the read train count. That means like if there is a train inbound to the station, then don't send the signal because then it's already coming in. We can always add that as a more complex thing. But what we have now made sure of is that our hub and our hub build here with some of the key ingredients will actually always take priority. And what does this mean? Well, this means that we can now zoom on forward and take a look at the end of the stream to see what the science production will be like after a while. So this is where we are at the end of the stream, at the end of this week. We're now completely up to date. We have science production 1123.30 here. So we are definitely at what is generally considered to be Megabase level. And of course, this is not sustainable, but it is here. It is getting there. And of course, some of these are starting to run out, but that's to be expected. And that will be where we want to go from now on. We have now a really well-functional base. There's a priority. There's a lot of extra production. What we need to do is make sure that we can expand. We need to capture this iron deposit, and we need to get more copper. Without more copper, I don't think we can actually scale up, and we can probably not even sustain it here. So that is definitely a thing. And if we look out here, there is no copper in sight, so I have to rely and hope that we can get a hype train that will then go out here and get us some copper patches. But you know, until then, I will keep expanding, I'll keep scaling up, and we'll try to sort of get as much out of this as possible to see if we can sustain it. But of course, you can also say that we are getting close to the end of the series because we are getting close to hitting our target. So it's really interesting that we can actually scale this up to Megabase level. I'm quite proud of that, and we still have a couple of weeks to go. And what will happen after this series completes over on Twitch? Well, I expect to complete this by the time that the Satisfactory Update 6 comes out. So I think that'll be a good transition to go into Satisfactory and put the Factorio back on the shelf at that point. So I hope that this summary recap was instructional, educational, entertaining, whatever it is, soporific. I will see you guys over on Twitch. It's at twitch.tv/Nilaus. It's Tuesday, Thursdays, and Sundays at 8 p.m. Central European Time. But the other days I'm streaming Captain of Industry, so do come check that out as well. Or maybe here on YouTube or on Discord. Thank you very much for watching. Until next time, take care, and as always, stay effective.